Today, two normals exploring 4 global cooking methods. The first one is under the cloche.
Ready?
Yes, my turn.
Go. All right.
Okay, right.
Made in France.
They look like they're almost arrow-like.
Somewhere in the world, you may have just read where,
France.
uses these in their cooking. But how?
There is a little gap in the bottom.
Yeah,
the steam comes out of that.
Well, this is. I think there's two options. One is it's to let something like steam out. So you could put this into a turkey or a big piece of meat or a pie.
Pie vent.
And it vents it out. Or you stick it in and then you pour liquid in so that it moistens.
I'm thinking it's got to be a very delicate thing. It's almost like it could be a souffle deflation device.
Oh,
I don't know why that would be a thing.
No, I know the sound.
But you know what I mean? It's got to be French and like cuisine-y.
Yeah.
Jamie was closer. It's for keeping meat very succulent and moist.
Ooh.
It's called larding.
I've been doing that for about 38 years.
Would you like to lard some venison?
Yes.
So quite literally, inserting or threading lardons into lean cuts of meat. So larding with lardons. What we've given you is a bit of smoked pancetta. It's also adding a bit of flavour. So if you were just to cut off the fat rind, and you want to cut basically a thick ribbon that will fit in the end of your larding needle, and then you push the whole thing through the meat. We're going to do it on one of those pieces of venison, and we're going to leave the other one without to see the comparison.
Oh, I was visualising it completely wrong. It's a massive needle.
Yeah, it's a larding needle.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're sewing.
We're sewing. So I've seen Guga Foods inject fat into lean cuts of meat to kind of give it some juiciness.
Yeah.
But never threaded.
So is this a classical French technique?
Yes, and bear in mind, if we arc back 100 years or more, game was a lot more popular, which is a very lean meat, and it's, you know, running wild, is using those muscles, so it can be quite a tough meat. So actually, larding it with fat is a good way to keep it moist as it roasts.
So I'm going to thread my needle in.
Right the way through the meat and out the other side.
And then as that goes in, it's let it go there.
Okay.
But I understand the theory.
You might need a chunkier piece of fat. In more modern times, animals have been bred to have that marbling in them, and we eat a lot less game and wild animals. Now, interestingly, our evidence suggests this was also very much done in the UK and in Britain, but we consider it kind of a French classic.
Right, I've got it in, but I'm not 100% sure it's all the way in.
Well, better than nothing. I've seen a lot of larding needles that have like teeth and clamps that keep hold of it for you. I think it should work.
Have you seen any in like a proper kitchen?
Yes, but not for some time, and that was when we were preparing game. I would say the time that people might see it in the UK now is larding and or barding of a turkey.
Oh, what's barding? You could put Shakespeare in there.
It's not a poet. Barding is basically laying fat on top rather than pushing through.
Oh, yes.
So when you wrap a turkey in pancetta, that is barding a turkey and protecting the lean turkey meat underneath. Larding is when you put fat through it. You know what you're doing now? You got the knack.
So how did you do that one?
I stuffed it in the end, and I kept the pressure there as much as possible. And even when it was in the meat,
keep the pressure there until the meat is holding its pressure. You've got there eventually 3 lardons through the piece of venison. You can also bard it if you wanted to put some bacon on top. So barding on top, larding through.
So that's just the epic mealtime bacon weave.
There's a flashback.
Barding. Like bombarding somebody.
Yeah, bombarding it with flavour.
Yeah, I guess so. And of course you can use different fats to give different flavours. But essentially now, if we were to roast at a high heat those 2 pieces of meat, in theory, should be more moist when we serve it at the end.
Okay.
So the venison has roasted, I mean, as simple as that, just plain roasted and then rested.
All right, shall I cut into this one?
Yeah, go for it. Okay, right, you can see straight away the threading, but it's not melted like I expected it would do.
No, I'd expected it to have melted down.
And in a way, that's another reason why you have to cook it all the way through, like, because you do need to render that fat. A rare cooking wouldn't get you to that.
Right,
go on,
with
go
the
on.
little finger push
Lovely.
to get the... Right, not much juice coming out of that one.
No.
This one, oozing.
Yeah.
Should we start
Yeah,
with
definitely. Cut us a slice.
Well, nowadays, in terms, you say a posh restaurant, I think other cooking methods, so to be more careful and more sous vide or whatever, may be the answer. But if you're just roasting quite lean meats or game, then actually the larding and barding is useful.
That is so gamey.
So gamey, and very lean as well. It doesn't.
No.
It's a single texture all the way through.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.
The larded barded one is multi-dimensional. Not just in terms of flavour, because yes, you've got the flavour of the bacon and the lardon in there, which adds the smokiness and that kind of thing, but texture as well.
It's why other cuts of meat, like if you compare like a ribeye to a fillet, and the way you eat, it has that marbling of fat. A leg of lamb, stabbed multiple times, and you push in anchovy fillets.
Yeah, we do that.
And garlic.
Fat,
Garlic
but
and anchovy.
umami and salt and garlic, and they roast, and you can
Yeah.
add that flavour in. So you can do it with other fats and other meats. Last top tip, frozen cubes of lardons. So they're literally frozen pellets, are easier to push in. So you can literally push them into
yeah,
slots
that'll work,
if they're frozen solid, rather than working with sort of slimy, greasy fat. Good. Let's move on to number 2. You thought that one was fiddly. Lift the cloche on number 2.
Eggs and chopsticks.
Why are they so matte? They look like ping pong.
they are.
They look like rubber eggs.
Okay, so duck eggs and chopsticks.
You know what?
Specifically 3 of them.
I think I know what this is because I saw this on TikTok the other day and I was like, that's a technique I hope I never have to try.
Barry, explain yourself.
I saw someone on TikTok insert a prawn into a yolk.
What?
I know, they made a little incision in the yolk and they basically, with chopsticks, then delicately put a filling in an egg,
A raw egg.
a raw egg.
What we're going to try and do is renshu stuffed egg yolks.
Oh no, it looks really
And
tricky.
the crazy thing is you stuff them while they're raw and then you poach the whole thing. So it is a delicacy in the Fujian province of China. And essentially with 3 chopsticks, 2 to hold the filling and 1 to force it into the egg yolk,
Brilliant.
you fill quite a bit of filling into an egg.
They really stuff them thick, don't they?
It's surprising how much it can take. Should we try some? So we've given you a filling of minced pork with bamboo shoots and then all the usual seasonings, so garlic, ginger, white pepper, and a little bit of rice wine. So in theory, kind of a pencil shape of filling, in this case minced pork, but as you can imagine it could be any number of filling, fish like prawn mixtures, prawn and pork is a nice combination.
I should give that much first. Yeah, just a little bit first. You almost want to sharpen.
There.
And you'll be
You're in,
surprised
you're
at
in.
how much filling you should be able to poke in.
Okay, get yours out. Actually, can you poke the rest in? I'm scared.
Now,
Oh, teamwork. Oh my goodness.
Barry, we've done it on our first attempt.
see if you can get 1 more or even 2 more in.
Peppers, don't push it.
The reason I say that is because we always associate eggs as being incredibly fragile. The fragile part is really the shell, because you don't want to break it in transit. Actually, the yolk, especially once it cooks around it, is surprisingly malleable.
Right, now you push.
3 chopsticks, 2 hands.
No!
No, we're fine.
It's overflowing.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's okay.
We're okay.
I mean, in a way, it's like an inverted Scotch egg, isn't it?
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh.
It really is.
It really is, wow.
Outside in.
A little bit more in there, and then we'll poach it.
Breadcrumbs first.
Then you can have another go. See if we can get a couple on the go. These are excellent street food. You sometimes see them in the province of China, and they'll scoop them out of the broth, serve with a little bit of that broth and a garnish as well. They're also saved for special occasions and celebrations because they are quite fiddly and therefore quite a delicacy.
I want to stop, I'm scared.
Yeah, I can't.
In which case, we then have some poaching water ready for you. So water just below boiling, and that careful method of just sliding the ramekin in. You've already cracked the egg. It should be nice and easy.
Aren't humans
Find it.
odd? We've asked this question so many times with various different dishes and cooking methods, but who was the first person that thought, see that egg? I'll put some meat in that.
Sort of thing you'd have thought of.
Well, it was a 16th century soldier who returned and decided that that was what they were going to create because it looked like a silver cup.
Is that the one with the first one?
That's the first one you did.
Okay, so you flip upside down, it looks like a poached egg.
I want to have a go.
Surprise.
We've got 3 on the go.
Okay, go on. You having a good time?
I've broken mine as well.
It's one of those things where you have to be delicate and yet forceful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Confident.
I'm actually amazed that we've managed to pull this off.
Yeah.
Like these aren't complete and utter failures, which I was expecting.
Have a taste of yours and see what you think.
Oh, so we got a runny yolk here. Right.
Cheers.
Cheers. I didn't know that's what egg needed.
No, weirdly, it tastes exactly how you'd expect it to taste.
Yeah.
But usually I'd have that in a soup, so I'd have like the pork meatballs in like a ramen-esque setup or a broth. So it's similar, but the fact that it's all together is really neat.
I think it's a fascinating technique. The fact that we achieved it is something else. But as a final eating experience, I don't see the difference of just rolling up some balls and poaching them in the same water as the eggs. You get the same flavour.
Yeah, but it's the knowledge of the technique that's been done, and it's got the historical element to it. I get it.
So there's the one that I managed to force some pork into.
It looks great. Do you know, it almost looks more like a chicken thigh.
It does. It's a very well stuffed egg.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Emma's great job.
That's amazing.
It can be done. Again, that was the first... No. We all had one go. I had the advantage of seeing you two do yours first. But I think it's a confidence about, we think of eggs as really delicate, but actually they can really take quite a bit of filling.
Cheers. That's better.
Yeah, that is better.
That is better.
Better ratio. It makes no sense whatsoever, but I absolutely love it.
It is so impressive to be able to do that. And I think the places that you could take that, in terms of the flavours of the fillings that you put in, you could take that into a lot of different areas. I quite like the thought. If I could do it, I could have some fun with that.
It would make for a really interesting battle concept for us, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Do 3 different versions of that for different parts of the world.
Yeah, a filled egg battle.
Sesame prawn toast meets Renshu egg.
Yeah.
The Renshu stuffed egg. It is a global cooking method that is so unique. But you ready for a third? Looking forward to this one. Where are we going now?
Does it involve more poking? It's been a very pokey episode.
Ooh, it
Oh,
says
hello, it's a piggy bowl.
Asador de chorizo. I've had this.
No, of course you have.
I've had this. This is the Portuguese.
Let me play the game.
Sorry.
So it's a vessel. In my head, you've got chips and dips and and meat to kind of No?
That would be nice.
That would be nice. It's not that,
really
isn't it? It's not that. It's not that.
No, it's not Portuguese nachos.
It's not Portuguese. Is it meat based?
Chorizo.
Chorizo. It's a sausage holder.
It is a sausage holder. Jamie, put him out of his misery.
This is how you cook your sauce.
I have to be honest, Jamie, I'd forgotten that you had already done this. Mike and I enjoyed a flaming sausage in Lisbon.
I had it in Lisbon as well. Not with my. I didn't go on that holiday. I went on my own holiday.
Cool. Sensibly.
With my family.
Would you like to try it? Essentially, a burning alcohol that flames a chorizo sausage.
Okay, right, talk me through this.
So essentially, you need a high ABV alcohol in the bottom of your pig.
Someone say stop.
Yeah, that'll do. Then take a sharp knife and cut incisions all the way along your sausage so that from both sides it opens up and leaches fat. Now lots of different fuels can be used for this, but high ABV alcohol is the one, fire water or aguardente. However, sometimes it can also be used with any distilled grappa or rum, for example.
I'll be honest, I thought it was just paraffin, basically.
A burning alcohol is a slightly nicer option, but essentially you want all those wonderful fats to come out of your chorizo, which is a Portuguese spice sausage, much like chorizo.
Okay.
Right, light it, see what happens. Now, obviously, it takes a while to get going, but then you get all the lovely fats out of the sausage that drip and flame and almost spark. And after a couple of minutes of cooking, we'll turn it over. But you do want quite a good char on this.
Is it a Portuguese thing? I know we both had it in Lisbon, but is it a Portuguese thing?
Yeah, very much so. And it uses the Portuguese version of what we would look at and probably jump to conclusions as being a chorizo, but basically very similar spicing. It's just that it's the Portuguese version. Often served in sort of taverns or restaurants. And if they are dark and dimly lit, then you get more of the flame and flare. Nice colour on that side now.
Woo! Nice.
Beautiful.
Look at that. Yeah!
How did it go for you, Jay? And the good thing about being able to do it at the table is you can choose how much of that char that you like on your sausage, because actually that adds a really extra texture and dimension to flavour. Try it.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, wow.
Good, right?
It's so good.
And that's so silly, so simple, so wonderful. I love it.
I mean, essentially what that is a British barbecue, right? With bangers. Like,
Yeah.
just put,
Yeah.
you could put that, and we could make our own sausages in the middle of a table. Like, cook our own sausages, make a hot dog.
I like the fact you're using a very strong rum rather than a paraffin for something which is a bit.
Adds a
You would
flavour,
taste the
doesn't it?
paraffin. That just tastes of deliciousness.
Seriously good? We got room for one more if you have.
Yeah.
Last one. What have we got? And what is this global cooking technique?
Oh, yes. Straight away, it looks delicate. Okay.
We've got little pouches.
Yunmai China black tea.
Yu Hua Jin.
So these are little sachets of delicious Chinese black tea. Now, it can be any tea for this cooking technique. The choice of tea will change the outcome. But we've chosen this one because we got it as a Christmas present.
Lovely. So we're going to make tea?
But how are we going to cook with tea? This is global cooking technique.
Yes. Interesting.
What else could you do to tea?
Burn it?
Yeah,
I don't know why.
tea smoking,
Oh.
Okay.
which gives delicate foods an incredible flavour and aroma beyond the more heavy wood smoke that you would expect.
Interesting.
Acid
Yeah.
smoking. Should we try some?
Yeah.
So what I've presented you with is some wonderful delicate ingredients, some mushrooms and a little bit of fish, in this case salmon, but you can also tea smoke things like chicken and poultry, vegetables, but lighter things. And then you're going to smoke it in a wok, but if you just put the tea in, it burns, it goes acrid, not good. If you mix it with rice, the rice gets hot and gently smokes the tea.
So we're not cooking the rice to eat it,
No, you're using that as a heat mediator.
like sand.
Like sand.
Yeah.
Right, let's give it a go.
So how much tea do we need?
1 or 2 of those sachets. Some recipes we've seen also add brown sugar into the mix, although sometimes that can burn and caramelise and go a bit acrid, but it depends on how you like your smoke, and it goes without saying you can also add in spices. Give it a bit of a mix up. Then you can put your steam basket on top, and then your lid. So in this way, it is a hot smoke. There are other ways of doing it with the cold smoke option, but essentially, we're going to lightly cook these items as you get that tea smoke.
And it will cook them.
There'll be enough heat in there to cook them at the same time. Alternatively, you can steam, for example, chicken on the bone, or even a whole chicken, and then finish it by tea smoking. A conversation we're probably quite familiar with is pairing different wood chips with different meats as you smoke, but now think about it with tea. Black tea will give you darker, richer, roaster, almost caramelly notes for things like red meat, oily fish, earthy mushrooms, whereas green teas will give you more sort of grassy, herbal, floral notes, good for white fish and vegetables.
Could you smoke with coffee beans?
I think that is a great shout. You can absolutely add spices into those rice to give you, whether it's clove or cinnamon or star anise, to give you some of those aromatic flavours. But you can start to see a little bit of condensation forming on top of there, which means the heat is starting. Once it really gets going, you'll get the smoke too. We'll come back to it in about 10 minutes. Lift the lid, see what we got.
Ooh.
Definitely smells smoky. Definitely smoky. I'm really interested to see what notes of the teaness that you get from it.
Worth pointing out, bigger things you want to cook, you might want to steam first and finish with the tea smoke. And sometimes they just throw the tea leaves onto the coals right at the very end, if you're just cooking over coals rather than in a wok.
I thought I'd struggle to find the teeness, but it's absorbed into the salmon straight away, yeah.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
But it's one of those ones where it's more on the nose than it is in the mouth.
There's nothing else on that salmon other than...
A pinch of salt. Deliberately. And obviously you can do an awful lot more with it. You could marinate it previously, you could serve it with various sauces or in broths, but the tea smoke alone?
So if I hadn't been through the process, I wouldn't be able to tell you that it was tea smoke.
No.
It's smoked, and I would say it's a light, delicate smoke as opposed to kind of really harsh, acrid smoke. But it's absolutely delicious.
The salmon is standout, but even down to the middle of the salmon, you're still getting an element of it. The top's punchy.
Yeah.
And this wok method, or any saucepan basically that you can heat up rice with the tea, is something you can do easily at home. You don't need a wok and a wok ring and a steamer. You can kind of DIY it as well. It's
amazing to think of the different things that you could do. So like just cinnamon sticks, for instance, or like whole spices. It would be really interesting to experiment with those kind of things and see what flavours they add to different foods.
And obviously we're talking Chinese cooking method, but in ancient China, smoke was used an awful lot as a preservative as well, because it helps to kill bacteria, remove a lot of the moisture, and basically it is its own preservation method as well as adding delicious flavour. Comment down below, there's 4 global cooking techniques. What would you smoke your food with at home?
They've been great.
They've been brilliant. Thank you for the delicious food, but also the continuous poking throughout.
Yeah.
So much poking.
Love the poking.
Expert poker.
It's me.